All right, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and label each circle from the leader that would be first to the head of all the leaders. So for a school, like we said, it would start with the teacher in the middle. Okay, then what would be next? The principal would be next. And then in your outside circle would be the superintendent. And you would write that in the orange circle. Okay, when you're done with your Gobstopper, I want you to go ahead and tell me one trait that each one of those people possess that make them a good leader. So for instance, next to your teacher, underneath it, why don't you write what makes her a good leader? So like Mrs. Chan, she had passion and pride for her work. So I put passion and pride for her work. Then think about your principal. What is one trait of your principal that is a good leader? And then think about your superintendent. What is one trait of your superintendent that makes them a good leader? Okay. Moving on, we are now going to talk about leaders in our government. And we are going to actually make another Gobstopper. So you can go ahead and pick your 3 colors and make that now. If you want to pause the video and do your circles, you can. I'm going to make it right now too. And you're going to want to label this one leaders in our government. Leaders in our government. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and do our Gobstopper circles for that one. So our leaders in our government would go like this. In your town, so in your city, you have a mayor, and that is the leader of your city, of your town. Then over the mayor is your governor, and your governor is the leader of your state. And then over all the governors is the president, and the president is the leader of all the states. So that would be how it would go. So in our middle circle, we would put mayor. In our outside circle, we would put governor. And then on our big outside circle, we would put the president. So each of you are going to have a different mayor because you don't live where I live. If you live in a different state than Iowa, you're going to have a different governor than us as well. But our governor in Iowa is Kim Reynolds, and she has a very big job. In fact, she's been very busy currently with everything that's going on with the coronavirus. She has had a lot of jobs that she has had to do, more than her normal job. And she has to make a lot of big decisions that affect everybody in Iowa. And then on top of that, so then above Kim Reynolds would be the President of the United States, which is Donald Trump. And same with Mr. Trump. He has had a lot on his plate too these last few weeks with having to figure out how to keep us safe and what we need to do to stay healthy and all of that as well. So when you think about those people, what traits do they have that make a good leader? And you guys hear a lot about the president, so you know kind of what goes on with the president. And you kind of know what goes on with the governor. You've heard a lot from the governor lately with what's been happening. However, we don't really know a lot about our mayors. So Mrs. Hooker brought a book about mayors. It's called A Day with the Mayor. And I wanted to read this to you today so you could just learn a little bit more about a mayor and what it is that he or she does for their job. Does your town have a mayor? Every town or city has a government. In many towns, a mayor leads the government. People vote for the mayor in the elections. Once the mayor is elected, sorry guys, I just want to make sure you can see that, he or she makes sure a city works well. The mayor meets with the elected officials and city workers. He or she talks with the people and listens to their concerns. The mayor of every town does many different jobs. She starts her day by meeting with her staff of workers, and they work for the mayor and the city. The mayor and her staff talk about city events, they talk about problems, and what should be done to solve them. Today, the mayor has breakfast with the deputy mayor. He is in charge of the city when the mayor is away. They talk about how they can work together to help the city. The mayor works at her desk reading reports and making phone calls. She looks at the clock. It is time for another meeting. The mayor meets with a community group. This group talks about the needs of the older people, and she listens to the group and answers their questions. She says that what the city can do to help senior citizens and invites the group to work with the city. Later, the mayor attends the opening of a new supermarket. She tells reporters that their city is growing, and she says new businesses create new jobs, and thanks the store manager for opening a store in their community. Next, the mayor gives a short speech at the Everytown High School. She talks about her own school days and explains the need for education. She tells the students what she expects of them to be active citizens in the community. At noon, the mayor has lunch with the owners of a small business. She talks about a plan to get more people to shop downtown. She says that the downtown needs new stores. She says that the city will work with new stores, and she talks about a tax cut that would help the stores. After lunch, the mayor meets with the leaders who speak for the city's garbage collectors. The garbage collectors want to pay raise because they work so hard, and the mayor says the city may not have enough money to pay them more. She offers to talk with the city council, a group of citizens who make the city laws, to see if the garbage collectors can be given a raise in their pay. Then the mayor goes to Everytown Historical Society. The society wants to save old buildings in the city rather than tear them down, and the mayor agrees. She wants businesses to move to the downtown area. The mayor says the new businesses can repair the old buildings downtown. Next, the mayor meets in the city council. The mayor runs the meeting, and the mayor and the council members discuss what they want to pass. They talk about what citizens need, and they talk about giving tax cuts to new businesses. The mayor talks about her meeting with the garbage collector leaders, and they discuss their raises. The city council agrees to give the garbage collectors a raise. The mayor talks with the city treasurer. The treasurer studies the budget. The treasurer agrees that the city can give the garbage collectors a small raise. The mayor goes to the city library for the after-school story time, and she reads a story to the children at the library. The children are excited because it is a special day that the mayor gets to read with them. On the way home, the mayor stops by the soccer field at the elementary school. She watches her son play in his game, and after the game, she talks with him. And she talks to the principal at the school. They agree to meet the next week to talk about concerns of the city and the school. The mayor eats dinner with her family. She listens as they talk about their day, and she tells her family about reading at the library, and she talks about the soccer game. The mayor spends her evening with her family, and before she sits down to relax, she studies her schedule for the next day. Today has been a long day. The mayor's work all begins again tomorrow. All right. So that's a little bit about a mayor and what they do. So now, like I told you on your gobstopper for the school, for the gobstopper for the government, the one that has the mayor in the middle, then the governor, and then the president, I want you to go ahead and write a characteristic of a good leader that each one of those leaders have on your gobstopper, like you did for the school one. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish up with a poem, and it's another poem by Shel Silverstein. This poem is called Smart. My dad gave me a $1 bill because I'm his smartest son. And I swapped it for 2 shiny quarters because 2 is more than 1. And then I took the quarters and traded them to Lou for 3 dimes. I guess he don't know that 3 is more than 2. Just then along came old blind Bates, and just 'cause he can't see, he gave me 4 nickels for my 3 dimes, and 4 is more than 3. And I took the nickels to Hiram Combs down at the seed feed store, and that fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. And then I went and showed my dad, and he got red in the cheeks, and he closed his eyes and shook his head, too proud of me to speak. All right, let's read this again, and let's count up the money, and let's see, I know some of you already got it, why this is so silly. Okay. So my dad gave me $1, a $1 bill. So that's worth 100, right? 100 cents. Okay. So my dad gave me a $1 bill because I'm his smartest son. And I swapped it for 2 shiny quarters because 2 is more than 1. All right. So right now he had $1. It was 100 cents, right? Then he swapped it for 2 quarters because he thinks 2 is more than 1. But 2 quarters are worth 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 cents. So he had 100 cents, now he has 50 cents. Oh man. And then I took the quarters and I traded them to Lou for 3 dimes. I guess that he don't know that 3 is more than 2. Okay, so he had 50 cents and then he traded with Lou for 3 dimes. So remember, dimes have 2 touch points, so he had 3. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. No. Mrs. Hooker did that wrong. I'm sorry, I was not counting by 5s. Let's try that again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 lands. Okay, so he had 30 cents from those 3 dimes. He did have 50 cents, but now he has 30 cents. So what he's saying is, oh, but I had 2 quarters and now I have 3 dimes. So 3 is more than 2, but it's not, is it? It's only 30 cents, and he had 50 cents. And before that, he had 100 cents. Okay, so what happens next? Just then along came old blind Bates, and just because he can't see, he gave me 4 nickels for my 3 dimes, and 4 is more than 3. Okay, so 4 nickels, and we count those by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. So now he has 20 cents. He had 30, before that he had 50, before that he had 100, and now he only has 20 cents. Oh, lands. Okay, and I took those nickels to Hiram Combs down to the seed feed store, and that fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 5 cents now. He started with 100 cents, and now he only has 5. And the last little paragraph, the last stanza says, and then I went and showed my dad, and he got red in the cheeks and closed his eyes and shook his head, too proud of me to speak. Was his dad really proud of him? Remember, proud is when you go, oh, you did so good. Is that really why his dad turned red and shook his head? No, his dad was probably disappointed and a little embarrassed that his son started with $1 and now only has 5 pennies. So it is super important that you know how to count change, because you don't want to be like the boy in our story and start with $1 and have all this money and then end up with only 5 pennies. Because just because you have 5 pennies versus $1 doesn't mean that those 5 pennies are worth more. They're only worth 5 cents. All right, guys, keep doing your homework and practicing with your coins. And remember, if you would like to get a prize for the homework you've done previously, at the end of the week, email me all of your things. You can take a picture and email it to my email that I told you earlier, and we can get you a prize sent to your address. Now remember, there is still 2 more days left in this week. We have Thursday and we have Friday, so you need to wait till the end of the week. So wait till Friday. Mrs. Hooker just kind of wanted to let you know about it now so you can talk to your parents about it, and make sure you're getting your homework done, so then you can take pictures and upload them to the email, and then get that prize in the mail next week. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope you had a wonderful day. I know that it was nice outside today. It was a little bit gray, but it was still nice and warm, which was great. I hope you got to enjoy some warmth today as well. I hope you got to go outside, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.